everyone, I welcome you all to my today's science class. In today's science class, I'm going to take the first chapter. So before starting the first chapter, let's have a look at a beautiful quotation. Success belongs only to those who are willing to work harder than anyone else. So my dear students, if you want to get success in your life, you have to work harder. आप जितना ज़्यादा मेहनत करेंगे सफलता उतनी जल्दी आपको हासिल होगी. With this beautiful quotation, let's start our today's class. Good morning, students. In today's class, I'm going to take the chapter number first, which is the fundamental units of life. The fundamental unit of life is nothing but it is a cell. Okay, in your previous class, you have studied about this cell. So the definition of the cell is the structural and functional unit of all life forms. Okay, as the heading says, the cell is the fundamental unit of life. The word fundamental means the basic. For example, I will try to explain you in a simple language that you are sitting in a room. This room is made up of walls, and these walls are made up of bricks. So we can say the bricks are the fundamental unit of this room. Like that, the cells are the fundamental unit of living organisms. On this planet, there are so many living organisms. Whether it is a microorganism or whether it is a largest animal on the planet, everything is made up of cells. Now in this video, I will try to explain you the introduction and the discovery of the cell. Okay, discovery of the cell was discovered in the year 1665 by the scientist called Robert Hooke. Robert Hooke discovered this cell, but unfortunately the cell which he discovered was a dead cell. When Robert Hooke, when he was doing research work in his laboratory, he took a sample of the cork. He took a slice from the cork and tried to observe it under the microscope. And one more thing, the microscope which we see nowadays, in the earlier days it was not that much developed. The microscope which Robert Hooke used was the primitive microscope. Okay, so under that microscope, he tried to observe a slice of a cork. When he observed that, what he found a honeycomb-like structure. These structures were like a small rooms or the small compartments. So he called these things as a cell. The cell is a Latin word which means a small room. Now, the Robert Hooke wrote a book called the Micrographia, and in that book he wrote all his discoveries. Later, there were two scientists, the Schleiden and the Schwann. The Schleiden was the botanist and Schwann was the zoologist. In the year, there were two scientists, the Schleiden and the Schwann. The Schleiden was the botanist and Schwann was the zoologist. In the year 1838, the Schleiden discovered that the plant is made up of the cells. Whereas the Schleiden, a zoologist, he also discovered that the animal body is made up of cells. So they both joined their hand to work together. So together they gave the theory of the cell theory. So according to the points which are in the cell theory are, the cells are the building blocks of organisms. And the second point is, all organisms are composed of cells, and cell is the basic structure of the cell. Now they both agreed on these 2 points, like the cell is the building block of organism, like, okay, so all the living organisms are made up of cells. Without cell, no organism can exist. And all the organisms are composed of cell. जितने भी organisms हैं, all the organisms are made up of cells. These two scientists, they both agreed on these 2 points. But there was one point on which they both did not agree. They both had different opinions. What was that? The Schleiden believed that the cell formed spontaneously, but Schwann, he refused to believe on that. Then the one more scientist in the year 1855, he was the German physician Rudolf Virchow. Rudolf Virchow, according to his research, what he found that all the cell comes from the pre-existing cell. And then these three, they also believed on that, and they all together gave the cell theory. So according to the cell theory, what is the point? The first point of the cell theory is that the cells are the building block of organism. Second, all organisms are composed of cells, and cell is the structural and functional unit of all life forms. The third point is that all living cells comes from the pre-existing cell. Later, the Leeuwenhoek was the scientist who discovered the living cell. Like in the exam, the question can come, who discovered the dead cell? So you will write the answer Robert Hooke. But when the question will come, who discovered the dead cell? So you will write the answer Robert Hooke. But when the question will come, who discovered the living cell, then your answer will be Leeuwenhoek. So in the year 1674, when the microscope was much developed, he observed the living cell. From where did he find the living cell? He took a sample from the pond. Inside the pond there is algae called the Spirogyra. From the Spirogyra he saw the living cell. Okay, so that's all.